everyone, welcome back. So for today's video I'm going to talk about, this is one of the someone just asked me a very long time ago before I was admitted and everything. So I just want to do this. Is one of the easiest way you can learn astrology. So highest intelligence planets and combos in astrology, and what are the planets that you should see first, and then you can learn through it. So if you just look at the planets that you want to look at, and what type of intelligence that you have, most of them, all of the planets, literally including with the outer planets, also represents intelligence in Vedic astrology. In Western it's kind of different, in a tropical it's different, but sidereal I would say each and every planet have their own kind of intelligence. I think previously I have done this video about fame and legacies. If legacies, you have to see Saturn, because Saturn is the one who represents legacies. But most of the time people confuse about is it Sun or Saturn. Saturn not really necessarily represents fame. Most of the time people who are literally in a history, or they are in a legacies, they are not pretty much known, because they are legacies not really represents. This is one thing that you need to understand is fame and legacies, it may sound similar but it's kind of different. Saturn also represents history, so whatever you read in a history, it's most probably not everyone is going to remember them. But fame is like when Sun gives the fame, most of the time, the best example I can give is Michael Jackson. Everyone knows him. Who is he? Even literally in rural areas, people knows him for who is he. So that's why you need to be very specific at like what type of fame it is going to give. If all the planets is going to give fame, all the planets have its own intelligence and its own ways of characteristic according to each planet. So same goes with this one, highest intelligence planets and combos in astrology. So I'm just going to give you what type of intelligence this is going to be, and what are the most planets or the combos that we can literally see, and these people will be very highly intelligent. So the first thing obviously is Jupiter. You really have to see where's Jupiter in your chart. Literally that house, the nakshatra that Jupiter sits, definitely represents your intelligence. That is your highest intelligence, your morals, values. Even though it's retrograde, don't bother, especially if Jupiter is retrograde. That person is actually more smarter than the exalted or the neutral one. Retrograde Jupiter gives, because of the fact it's retrograde, and these people will learn their lessons in a more harder way, but they will definitely learn their lessons. Especially Jupiter expands, and so this. If you see people who have Jupiter Jupiter retrograde, literally in their birth chart itself, these are the people who will have very tough time with their gurus, but they will learn their lessons, and they will become, they themselves can even become guru themselves. Literally, if you see one of the famous spiritual guru actually have this placement. So yeah, so you just look at the Jupiter in your chart and see where he is, which house he is in your chart, as well which nakshatra and sign he is placed. So obviously you will have the intelligence according to the wherever Jupiter sits. And the next one is obviously Mercury. Mercury also represents not only your intelligence. Mercury also represents your communication skills, and also what type of communication you will normally have or what type of a communication you will start. You will have what type of the way you speak, or the way you deliver your intelligence towards the public, towards your friends, your siblings, someone younger than you, because Mercury also represents youngness. Also it represents if you're a teacher, and what type of students you have, this can represents Mercury. So Mercury nakshatra and which house the planet sits in your birth chart, just calculate from Jupiter and see how many houses it is away. So it will shows you if it's like a 3 placement, 4 placement, it's actually good one. So this is also can represent, if this is the place one that we have to be very careful. When I say Jupiter retrograde can represent, it's a far good, but Mercury retrograde can be a bit chaos, a bit troublesome. So the person can have very much a confusion with their own ways of thinking. They may have misinformation. This can happen a lot if you have Mercury retrograde in your birth chart, not the transit that is happening. No, just look at your birth chart and see if you have Mercury retrograde. Literally ask people who have Mercury retrograde, they will say so many things, something that we may experience when Mercury is retrograding, but these are the people who are very used to it. It's like they are so much experienced and they know what's coming. So these are the type of Mercury retrograde. Most of the time these are the people who will learn in a most transformative ways. And also Mercury also one of the planet that is very much a fast moving planet. So whatever happened, they tend to adapt. Even though Mercury is in a planet like Earth sign or very slow moving planet, slow moving nakshatras, still Mercury will be like a urge, like very much the fast movement will be there. And Mercury retrograde also can be represents that these are the people who will be very much after lesson by lesson, they will be learned that they have to be very careful with their documents. They have to be very careful with their whatever they are saying. They shouldn't say it simply believing just by looking at the social media without, especially without doing research. If people who have Mercury retrograde or Mercury literally in the third house, first house, 12th house, sixth house, eighth house, it is going to be trouble. Why? Because without you doing your own research, without you giving that how to say, it's like you really knows that thing, you really learn that thing, and or the information is, you really need to discover if the information is true or not, because most of the time this can represent false and you will be blamed for it. So yes, it is highest intelligence, but be very careful whenever you're having Mercury retrograde in your chart, or you have Mercury position in the houses that I said, and also Mercury in a Earth sign. So you have to be very very careful. Generally, I would say it's most of the time, don't ever believe whatever that you see in social medias, and even though if there are so many news, try to learn is it true or not, and then you proceed to deliver to others. So that's for Mercury. And next one is Venus. So Venus is a Venus intelligence, most of the time it is going to represents either it is going to be spiritual or it is going to be very artistic talents. All type of any type of artistic talents, these people can be very much intelligent. So their highest intelligence possibly going to be in that way. And whenever Mercury Venus, most of the time we can see Mercury Venus conjunction is one of the usual conjunctions that can be happened. And if you have this conjunction, yes, you have that intelligence, that highest intelligence, and you, but the thing is Mercury represents learning, so you must learn. If you want something, if you want to learn about arts, if you want to, you are not gifted. It's not the way I want to say that. I would say you have the gift, but you have to improvise it. Especially if you see Mercury Ketu, Mercury, yeah, Mercury Ketu, or Ketu is somewhere with Mercury or Venus or Jupiter. This can represent, you have to always brush up, because Ketu represents your past life, and then you have conjunction with Jupiter, Mercury, or Venus, or literally have all of this Ketu, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus. If Mercury is sit with that planet, it means previously you already have that gift, that characteristic in your life. That's why Ketu is conjuncted with that specific planet that is mentioned in your chart. So this is why you still have to put effort. If you are not putting effort, it's not Kedu will not really entertain you. Kedu will not give that gift. Probably that gift will go waste, or it's not become very useful for you. So you always need to improvise. You always need to learn. You always need to put the effort. If you have interest in music, go and learn professionally. So you must put effort for Kedu to really help you. Same goes with the Jupiter. Mercury, Venus, usually Mercury, if you actually do your own research, it literally, Mercury will help you, because as I say, Mercury is a fast moving planet. Also, Mercury also represents curiosities. So Venus also can represent that most of the time, but Venus also represents, you have to have that devotion, and you, if you want something, yes, you have to be very much devoted, very much sacrificing. You really need to give yourself if you want to achieve that. Same goes with Jupiter. Jupiter, obviously, Guru is like, if you are not really putting effort into your morals, into your cultures and learnings, and not respecting gurus, obviously Jupiter is not going to be very nice with you. So you have to be very careful with that. So the next one is Uranus. Uranus is one of the outer planets that we don't really consider much in Vedic astrology, but recently, if you see in Vedic astrology, there are so many research is going on, and people do actually learning, and also Uranus and Neptune, Pluto is actually becoming importance in Vedic astrology, because there are certain conjunctions, and especially in the first house, seventh house, eighth house. So all of these houses are very much importance, and also intensity and very depth into it. So now it seems like it's actually the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto does have its effects. So but we are still doing our own research. So I would say in my own research, I have seen people have a Uranus, especially Uranus, Venus, Uranus, literally in their ascendant, 7th house, 12th house, second house, third house, I would say. But I have seen this first house and the 12th house, 7th house, this fifth house, especially house of intelligence. So this represents, Uranus does represents highest intelligence possible in your chart. Wherever Uranus is, look at the nakshatra Uranus is sits, especially if you know Uranus and Neptune is changed, and Pluto is also changed. There is a transit going on the sky. So Uranus, I would say, more than Neptune is more like imagination, but Uranus is definitely like one-time lightning, and bolt lightning is coming up, and then this person can be eccentric, but at the same time this person can be have very highest intelligence. So look at where is your Uranus in your chart and which nakshatra it represents, and study about that nakshatra and see it represents about yourself or not, or your personality or your interest that you have. And then the another two outer planet or shadow planet, it's obviously Rahu and Ketu, because Rahu is your future, whatever that why you are here and what you are doing, your present karma that you are doing right now, and Ketu obviously your past life gift. So that is also one of the highest intelligence. So if this is why I said previously, if you have Ketu conjunct with Mercury, Jupiter, or Venus or Uranus, or Rahu is conjunct with the Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, most of the time it can represent, it should be in a good placement first thing, and the distance and degrees should be good enough, and also which houses, which nakshatra it represents. It is very, very important. But most of the thing, I would say these are the major planets. Saturn do have his own intelligence, especially hard work, and then his ways of being responsible. That is also one of the intelligence. Not everyone can be disciplined, but this is more like I would like to focus on the way it can represent your way of learning, way of very quick one, or literally whenever someone is looking at you, especially if you have the conjunction that I just said, Jupiter, Mercury, or Mercury, Venus, Rahu, Venus, Rahu, Jupiter, or Ketu, Uranus, Ketu, Jupiter, Ketu, Mercury. So this conjunction can represent, but at the same time, this can also represent as a bad position as well. So you have to look at where it is in your birth chart. Don't look at it at your most probably I won't suggest for the Navamsha or for the Dasamsha, yes, because it is career related, right? So if you have any kind of this conjunction, most of the time you can pursue for the teaching, for if you want to educate people, if you want to focus on your education, or you want to pursue your studies and you want to do research, you want to join any type of a professional learning certificate, whatever it is, artistic, just look at your the samsha, and also majorly your birth chart. I would say birth chart, if you have at least one of these conjunctions, definitely it represents highest intelligence. You already have that, so all you have to do is put effort and improvise it. So this is one of the things that I want to cover it. So yeah, and another things is coming up, and what I have previously, I was supposed to do the hora, because hora murta is another one more thing that is very important in your birth chart, and your timing, why it represents your everyday routine. So if you don't have your everyday routine in a proper way, most of the time we cannot achieve what we want. So your hora timing is very important, and I'm coming up with that, and also with the series. So I hope this one helps, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.